This episode is brought to you by National Geographic, presenting its new documentary film, Endurance. Follow the greatest survival story ever told, unpacking the legendary feat of polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton, who kept his crew alive for over a year, despite losing their ship in frigid pack ice. Over a century later, a team of modern-day explorers set out to find the sunken ship. Endurance, now streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
I'm James McComb, reporting live from home in my bathrobe and slippers. Tonight, we're talking Dunkin' Polar Peppermint Coffee. Gene's here with the latest. Gene, do you copy?
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Today's topic is going to be an interesting one because we are talking about young roles from big stars. And here to join me for this episode, the big star in the house, my young wife, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing?
Well played, sir.
I thought so.
Well played. Just remember, as old as you get, I'll always be younger.
You sure rub that ish in, why don't you? Thanks.
But the boys make me feel old, so...
Yeah, that's the thing. That is the actual truth of it all, is that no matter how old or how young we are, and I'm not saying because I don't want to put that number out there, but still, your kids will always make you feel older. That's just the truth of it. So let me explain what we're doing today. We're talking about young roles from big stars. And there is an age cutoff for this. So we're talking about actors, name actors you know, but roles from when they were 13 years old or younger. Now, I want to put a clarification here because I'm a big proponent of not dissing on young actors. So when we say for our past film, whatever the film is, we are not necessarily talking about the actor in general. We're just talking about the movie as a whole. And we're not saying that the movie is bad. It's just one that we might actually pass on. Because let's be honest, any actor who gets in front of the camera is infinitely a better actor than we are because they do the job and we don't. That's basically what it boils down to. So just know that when it comes to our past pick, we're not picking on kid actors here. We're talking about the movie in general, not necessarily the actor in question. But here's what we are going to do. We are going to pick 3 films each, a keep, a watch, and a pass. The pass, we've already talked about, but the keep is one that, you know what? The young actor and the movie itself killed it. And the watch, you know what? Can't go wrong. And we're going to start with you, Carrie. So what is your keep film for a young role from a big star?
Well, can I just say that as a child, this particular actor, completely surpassed all of his adult roles, I must say. But I am going to go with a Mr. Harry Potter, Daniel Radcliffe. Holy schmaholies. I mean, as a child, he understood the assignment and he just knocked it out of the park. He is Harry Potter and always will be. I cannot read the books without seeing Daniel Radcliffe.
Now, I'm going to ask a very, very, very controversial question here. Obviously, HBO is talking about making a new run of Harry Potter, and they're basically doing one season per book of the series. Obviously, you're not going to get Daniel Radcliffe to play Harry Potter again because he's a little old for those books. So I feel bad for the actors because they have to now and always will be compared to the original actor. So
how dare you stand where he stood?
but let me ask you though,
Mhm.
like, are you actually looking forward to this series?
Trepidatiously, yes. I do wish to see it, but do I think it's a good idea? No, I don't. I really wish they would just leave Well Enough alone. It is still a property that is still making money 20 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Leave it alone. But on the other hand, the book is always better than the movie, so I am curious.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see what they're going to do with it. Do I think it's a great idea? I'm really on the line on that one. Depending on the day, like I do want to see it, but I will be one of those people who just cannot help but compare.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's fair. Like I'll be the first to own that I don't think it's a fair assessment to judge a whole new cast of actors, but the original, the golden trio, the silver trio,
Mm-hmm.
like, it'll be interesting, and I might wind up eating my words, and it might be fantastic, and I'm sure it will be, but it will not be the original.
I mean, I do recognize that it's hard to step into a role that someone's already done, that someone has done iconically. I mean, it's not like Batman, where there have been a number of Batmans in the past, so it really is just a matter of putting the cape and cowl on. The other thing, too, with the cape and cowl is that the costume is almost the character unto itself. But maybe a safer question, though, because you've read the books and you've watched the films a lot. She's watched them a lot.
A lot, yes.
Just let me put a quantifier there. She's watched them a
Hogwarts is
lot.
life.
Right. Is there a character that you think is going to fare better this way, where you have the space to elaborate from the books than was, allowed in the movies?
Ooh.
Now, I'm not talking about an actor. I'm talking about the character.
The character, yeah. I think they did Dudley Dursley dirty.
To say that 5 times fast.
I couldn't even say it once. I could barely get the words out. I think they did Dudley dirty, and I wish to see him more from the book's perspective.
Right.
I want to see that turnaround.
I mean, there is more Harry Potter content coming down the road. Of course, there's an upcoming Harry Potter Wizards of Baking show that's coming out. So, I mean, that's going to be interesting. It will be interesting because I know you, so we're going to watch it. I know we're going to watch it.
I saw the travel show too.
Okay.
With
with the twins.
Brothers. Oh my God. They're fun.
Yeah. Do I want to see them do the Cursed Child while the actors are at that perfect age to do it?
Yes. Please.
So, HBO, Warner Brothers, we're feeding you money here. Just listen to us.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Upgrade your business with Shopify, home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning fewer carts going abandoned and more sales going cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, get a commerce platform that's ready to sell wherever your customers are. Visit shopify.com to upgrade your selling today.
The holiday season officially starts when you get that first card in the mail. Shutterfly makes it easy to add more meaning to the everyday with hundreds of holiday card designs that can be personalized in seconds with your favorite photos from this year. Select your greeting, customize the color, and even add little extras like personalized foil to make a holiday card that really shines. Enjoy 40% off with code SMILE40 at Shutterfly.com and send something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means? It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Black Friday week starting November 21st.
All right. For my keep pick, I'm going with a movie starring a young actor who is still acting today and is killing it no matter what era of her career she has actually been in. I'm talking about The Addams Family, starring Christina Ricci. Now, she was 11 when she was in this film as Wednesday Addams. And let's be honest, as good a cast as they had in The Addams Family, Christina Ricci literally stole the show in this film as Wednesday Addams. I mean, yeah, do I like the thing? Yeah, it's all good. But tell me she wasn't the perfect Wednesday Addams.
Oh, definitely.
But I mean, even when you think about her career today, you've got Yellow Jackets, which is a beloved show. Her appearance in Wednesday, which was perfect, right? But even her voice work as well. She was recently the voice of Catwoman in the animated Batman Caped Crusader series that was on Prime Video, which, as someone who watched the Batman animated series from the 90s, because I was younger then, it's fantastic. Absolutely. But even series that didn't necessarily make a splash, I actually got a chance to watch one of the pilot episode of Pan Am, and she was fantastic in it, which also featured Margot Robbie early on in her career. So, I mean, she's got a fantastic career behind her. But I mean, like that, this is the thing, right? This is one of the very first films she was in. Obviously, the first one was Mermaids with Cher, and then you had The Hard Way, but then you had this. This is her third film, and she is stealing the movie.
I think because we were introduced to her as a child actor, I find it very unsettling to watch Black Snake Moan.
I think
because
that.
It gives it that, it really gives just seeing her that element of like innocence that it makes it even more disturbing, I think.
I don't know if disturbing is the word I would use, but it's definitely shocking. I mean, like, there was actually a lot of that kind of reaction when it got to the last season of Game of Thrones. And if I remember correctly, I think it was like the second episode where, because let's be honest, at some point, everyone has gotten naked in that show. It didn't happen until season 8 for Macy Williams. But when you think about how long that show was on the air, people are like, whoa. When we started watching this show, she was young. And it feels weird. It kind of feels like that kid sister kind of feel. So I understand. I mean, Black Snake Moan, it's an okay film. She's good in it.
She is very good, but it was just unsettling to see her chained up. Like, it just, again, you just have that air of innocence because we've been introduced to her as a child actor that it really doesn't sit well. It's like, whoa, wait, I know you're an adult, but
because otherwise you wouldn't be doing Black Snake Moan.
This
but
is
still
hard to watch.
I do appreciate that. And that's kind of a weird thing too, right? Where you grow up watching someone, or at least more to the point, you watch them grow up on film. And then all of a sudden they take that left turn at Albuquerque and it's like, oh, you're doing that kind of film.
It's like seeing Daniel Radcliffe in Swiss Army Man. Like, I mean, okay, it was hard to watch.
I think it's a little different, though.
Well,
I mean, like, Daniel Radcliffe isn't being chained up and, like, wanting to have sex all the time because, well, he's dead in that film.
He's a corpse, yes.
But I mean, even when you think about Alyssa Milano, right? I mean, I grew up watching Who's the Boss, and I remember Embrace of the Vampire, and that was a shock. It was an absolute shock. But I think it's one of those things, too, where, think about it. The Addams Family came out in 1991, and she was 11. Okay, cool. But then you get Black Snake Moan, which comes out 15 years later. So at that point, she's 26 years old, right? So, and I think the other thing, too, is that when you think about Christina Ricci in her earlier career, You think of her as cute and sometimes a little gothy. Okay. This was her kind of almost cementing but you know what? I'm freaking hot too. Like she pulled that off in a movie it's not like it's exploitative or anything. It's just a darker film in a role you don't necessarily expect to see her in.
That's fair. I guess it's like at some point that's acting. You have to allow for the space for child actors to grow up and to find their own, their voice and their freedom to do whatever movie they want.
Yeah. Oh, right? Absolutely. I mean, I think if we were ever to do a Christina Ricci Keep Watch Pass, Black Snake Moan would not be my keep film. And I don't even know if it would be my watch film, but I don't think it'd be my pass film either. Like, I don't know what would be my pass film, but it's not that bad. And even to that point, it doesn't even qualify for it's not that bad because it sits at a 66% critic score. So
I can say, though, that as a Sam Jackson fan, that's definitely my pass.
I can appreciate that. I can. Because that's also a massive, massive filmography for Samuel L. Jackson.
It's true.
That would be some research and a half there. For my watch film, I'm going to go back to a movie that was touched upon on an episode of It's Not That Bad. And believe me when I say I was angered that it qualified for It's Not That Bad, because this is one of those films that I remember watching when I was, at a really good age. Like, doing the math here, like I was in that. Had I been in this movie, I would have been in this category for young actors, or at least young roles for actors. But it's not me in the film, obviously, because I'm not an actor. It's actually a young Joaquin Phoenix, who was 12 years old when he made his cinematic debut in Space Camp. I love this film. It's also got Leah Thompson in it as well, and Kelly Preston and Tom Skerritt. And maybe it's at the time, and I recognize that this film kind of suffered in its release date because it was around the same time as the Challenger shuttle explosion. But I remember when shuttle launches were a massive thing on television. Like people would just gather around TV and because it was cool. People were going to space. And this was a film about kids who, albeit kind of against their will, ended up in space and they had to work together and find their way back. And you had a robot in there. The robot was talking. The robot was friends with Joaquin Phoenix. So there was a lot that was very 80s about this film. And yeah, I was a bit of not just a sci-fi geek, but I was I was a techie, sciencey, nerdy kind of geek. I was that kid. Still that kid.
I was going to say,
right.
Years later,
haven't changed, just got older. But Space Camp is a fun, family-friendly movie that came out at the perfect time for me. And then when you think about Joaquin Phoenix later on in his career, having played Johnny Cash, Joaquin Phoenix, and keep in mind too, if you're watching Space Camp, he's listed as Leaf Phoenix. Not Joaquin, but it is Joaquin Phoenix. But yeah, no, it's a fantastic film, and he went on to have a fantastic career as well. But now over to you. What's your watch film?
I'm about to trigger you.
Uh-oh.
And I'm circling back over the moon, riding a bicycle. And you're gonna
do this to me?
I'm gonna give a shout out to Drew Barrymore, who I think is an absolute doll. I think she was in this movie. I think she still is to this day. Drew Barrymore just makes me smile. I can't help but not smile in pretty much every role that she does. And I enjoyed her performance in E.T. As much as I know this is a hot button for you.
You're going to do this to me again, aren't you? You're talking about, first of all, the second film of Drew Barrymore's career that came out in 1982. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go down this road again because.
Okay, what was her first?
Her first was a film called Altered States.
Okay, I didn't see that.
It was actually a science fiction horror film based on a 1978 novel. I haven't read it. I haven't watched it, But I mean, the thing, and it's a small role, so it's not like it's a major role. So this is her first really big role as Gertie Taylor in the film. E.T., and they've already gone down this road. So if you watched the monster, I think it was movies based on monsters or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but holy crap. This film traumatized me as a kid.
You went on a tear before.
I went on an absolute tear. So I'm not going to go on that. But when you think about films around that time, right? You had E.T. and then you had Firestarter and Irreconcilable Differences. You had Cat's Eye. Like, she was taking on big roles in movies that weren't necessarily family-friendly films. And like,
I wonder if a large part of that was her mother, I think, that was kind of driving the bus. Or I wonder how much say she had in her career in the early days.
I don't know, but I mean, like, obviously, if Steven Spielberg comes a call and you say yes.
True.
You know, like
it was a good move.
And you know, as far as Firestarter goes, that's a movie based on a Stephen King novel. So yeah, you're going to do it because at the time, Stephen King novels turned movies were a big thing. You think about Christine, you think about Cujo, and Firestarter kind of really fit the bill. But I mean, and it's funny that you talked about Christina Ricci, you know, being in Black Snake Moan. How weird was it seeing Drew Barrymore in Poison Ivy later on? Like, all of a sudden, it's like, whoa. You know, we're only 10 years past E.T. here. Like, did you feel that one was weird?
You know what? I just think that it's hard. It's kind of different because Drew Barrymore has such an established career.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
Christina
yes.
Ricci, when you see her as Wednesday, that's an iconic role. That vision sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, I think her role in Firestarter is a bit more iconic because, I mean, like, she's the cover of the poster of the film. Like, she is the center of it. Whereas with E.T., it's, you know, let's be honest, E.T. is the actual star of that film, you know, and the horrific FBI hazmat suit wearing bubble, you know, house in a bubble kind of thing. Sorry. I promised myself I wasn't going to do this again. All again, once part of the 80s trauma pack for kids. E.T.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, it's up there with Optimus Prime dying in the Transformers the movie in 1986. So, yeah. But now I'm curious. And remember, dear listeners, we are talking about the film, not the actor in question. Your past movie.
I'm pretty sure that I'm going to need to consult IMDb because I was going on a TV series. And I went with the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen twins, the Olsen twins, which I'm trying to think back. There was a movie that I believe that they were trading off the role because that's what they would do.
In 1995, there was a film called It Takes Two, which starred both Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, but it also starred Kirstie Allen and Steve Guttenberg. So you got a little bit of Cheers, you got a little bit of Police Academy. Of course, it's all about them playing, you know, lookalikes, and then they kind of swap to try to get the
oh my God.
Yeah.
I loved that movie, actually.
Did you? You must be the only one because it has an 8% tomatometer.
Oh, I would defend
over
that.
Rotten Tomatoes.
That was in the time of like Three Men and a Baby, and
oh no, that was a good time for Kirstie Alley and
great time for movies.
Oh, absolutely,
But
and for
my
Steve Guttenberg for
reason-
sure. But I mean, the other thing too is that they actually won the Kids' Choice Awards for favorite movie actress, and they were both nominated for best performance by an actress under 10 at the Young Artist Awards that year.
See, my reason for picking them is not to pick on them.
Mhm.
Again, it was actually one of their young adult roles in A New York Minute, which I loved the movie. I can't say that I loved them in it.
No, I can see that. But the thing is, that also was also released in 2004. So at this point, they were already 18 years old. But I get it, right? Like, that's the thing. Like, they grew up in the public eye on Full House.
And that was very much the reason, is that when you think of a child actor,
Mhm.
I mean, they are still memed today,
Yeah.
right? Like you can't escape their role from Full House.
No, and that's the hard thing too, is that they were probably one of the most famous sets of twins to work in television. And then because they made basically a career on the fact that they were the twins from Full House at that point. And then of course we have their sister, Elizabeth Olsen, who is the Scarlet Witch and having an absolutely amazing career in Hollywood. But I mean, I can see It Takes Two being on a pass list considering it has a tomatometer of 8%.
I would still defend it, but yes,
on
I thank you.
On a future episode.
I thank you for fact checking and finding a movie that these two were in.
Okay. So It Takes Two is your pass film. Understandable, although I'm sure we'll be talking about this film somewhat later. My pass film features an actor who at 13 years old kind of, came into the public conscience and then later won an Oscar. Unfortunately, and he's good in this film. But it's also one of my least favorite of the series. I'm talking about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
That's your least favorite of the series?
That is absolutely my least one of my least favorite. I mean, everything pales in comparison to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the third one. And the first one definitely has its charms. But Ke Quan was fun in Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Doom. But I think, and maybe it's because I kind of block the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull out of my mind. And I still haven't even seen the fifth one yet because I haven't. So if I'm looking at the original trilogy, Temple of Doom is the least of the three. I mean, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I mean, I could defend it, even though it has Shia LaBeouf. And I haven't, I will at some point watch The Dial of Destiny. But Ke Quan in Temple of Doom, he was good for the role. I don't think the role was good, but I think he was good in the role. And I love that his career has really risen up lately, especially with Loki and with Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, he's a fantastic actor. And the fact that he stayed in Hollywood that long, I mean, he was actually part of the team that worked with the fight stunt coordinators for the first X-Men film. He stayed in Hollywood and he had a fantastic career. He still does. And he's one of those actors where you look at that career and you go, God damn, he stuck it out that long. He earned his flowers. And think about it, right? He got an Oscar the same year as Brendan Fraser got an Oscar, and they were both in Encino Man. I don't know if this means Pauly Shore is going to get an Oscar at some point. Probably not. But still, I mean, you've seen the Indiana Jones films. Temple of Doom, where does it rate for you in the series?
It was my favorite, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Well, again, I haven't seen the most recent one.
Dial of Destiny, yeah.
But
Over Last Crusade?
Yeah.
Over Sean Connery and Harrison Ford trading barbs on screen? Junior? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The scene where like the guy like rips the heart, I was like, Molaram. I get it, but I'd be curious, dear listeners, which Indiana Jones film you think is the worst. Maybe it's Dial of Destiny. Maybe that's the general consensus. Maybe it's Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Maybe it's because of Shia LaBeouf. But I never see anyone diss on the original Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I never see anyone dissing on Last Crusade. I love Last Crusade. I do. And Raiders of the Lost Ark, it's a gem of a film. I even remember watching the Young Indiana Jones TV series when it was on. That was fantastic. But maybe I'm diatribing. But dear listeners, let me know what you guys thought of Temple of Doom. I'd love to hear from you guys. All right. So please remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and pass films are for big stars in young roles.
Okay, my keep is Daniel Radcliffe, obviously, for any of the Harry Potters. My watch is Drew Barrymore in E.T. I'm sorry, Jay. And my pass is It Takes Two, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
All right, and for me, my keep is Christina Ricci in The Addams Family. My watch is Joaquin Phoenix in Space Camp. Sorry, Leaf Phoenix if you're watching the credits. And my pass is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Don't at me, I stand by my decision. Not for Ke Huy Quan, just because it's the least Indiana Jones for me. All right, Carrie, thank you so much. And dear listeners, you guys know the drill. If there is a topic that you want us to cover on Keep, Watch, Pass, or a movie that you want us to cover on It's Not That Bad, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And while you're there, make sure you check out all of our other shows in our Coming Soon page. Until next time, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep, Watch, Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.